A glass demon, 6 skateboarding traversal, a contract with the devil, and the power to eat the moon, all set to a rad soundtrack. Hello everyone and welcome to the Good Game Lobby review of Skate Story, developed by Sam Eng and published by Devolver Digital. It's a game whose demo had me enthralled from the beginning to end, and when it came to the full release, it continued to grip me throughout my playthrough. Let's skate into the reason why I think it's a must-play game of 2025. Alright, let's get into the story. In the Underworld, demons are kept up by the moon. They're unable to gain rest in such harsh moonlight. When a demon who is hungry and, naturally, you, the demon, are given a skateboard, a 4-page contract with the literal devil, and the start of a journey to eat the moon. You are not the only glass being in this world when you're introduced to your companion, a glass rabbit, who you must follow, which kicks and pushes our way to the gameplay. The tutorial begins with learning to push off and skate towards said rabbit. You'll learn to move in open space, passing through portals, first of which is a narrow path between a brick wall and fence that gives you a sense of claustrophobia, with just a slight misstep causing you to shatter into pieces before resetting. A nice touch is when you go past that same area, you'll see the glass still litters the ground. You begin with a power slide, which is when you rotate the board sideways to slowly screech the wheels and change direction, or at times come to a complete stop. As a former skateboarder, learning a power slide when you begin is a fun way to learn and control your center of gravity and maneuver around obstacles. I won't go too deep into the tricks you can perform because the basics are all there, and I'm sure everyone here has played their share of Tony Hawk or even Skate. Skate Story does have a completely different way in how you perform those tricks. You hold B down to ollie, where a small indicator circles around and depending on when you release will be how high you end up ollieing. It is then the combinations of the triggers and bumpers on the controller that unlock flip tricks. The right trigger is a kickflip, or the right trigger and left bumper become a varial kickflip, and vice versa for heel flips. The longer you keep up the tricks you perform, you'll have a running combo, and the enemies you encounter can be defeated by pressing X when landing. Each run-ending smashdown of the trick damages enemies and bosses you encounter. It's the way the game moves in slow motion during killing moves and run-ending hits that looks and feels amazing, which is a great time to talk about the gorgeous Underworld visuals. Okay, look at it. Look at everything right now and tell me this isn't one of the best looking games of 2025. Sam Eng, the developer of Skate Story, has built one of my favorite games from the ground up with attention to detail in the glass demon skater, statues of enemies, and unrelenting vibes of the Underworld. A highlight that felt amazing, performing it every time, was the finishing move of a boss like I mentioned earlier, where the game shifts to a focus in front of the demon, everything goes into a slow motion, and the last trick you perform looks like a highlight from a skate video. You also get a similar feeling when ending a run of tricks, when you're just skating around, fighting low-level enemies, where the second you smash down, the zoomed-in version of the demon is hovering just off-center, adding a nice touch to the visuals. It's all set up by an astounding soundtrack by Blood Cultures. The sound design for Skate Story is perfection. The sound of screeching wheels, the smack of the lip of the board when you perform a trick, the grinding trucks on the pavement, and shattering of glass have these immensely euphoric moments when skating around that would make me trail off and performing a sick run, forgetting I need to complete a task for another otherworldly creature or character in the Underworld on my pursuit to swallow all the moons. Blood Cultures have set the tone for the entire soundtrack, and I think this could be one of the best things they could have done for the game. That initial trailer featuring the song Set It On Fire was outstanding, even though this was a song that was previously released in 2022. The whole soundtrack for Skate Story is being treated as a new album by the band. It's also fitting that the band itself is anonymous in their presence, always in hoodies covering their faces almost like demons of the Underworld. Though Set It On Fire isn't featured on the official soundtrack, the rest of the soundtrack is filled to the brim with jams. For instance, Hole in the Sun ends with what I believe is an homage to Daft Punk's Rollin' and Scratchin'. But the one song I am obsessed with is this haunting track, The Alpha, The Omega. It has this bass-heavy synth surrounded by screeching vocal chops and background chaos. The vocals are a haunting melody of different styles that reminds me of the band CKY. For all my skateboarders who have seen CKY, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a slow marching ballad that builds into a drum and bass outro you need to hear. Check it out and let me know what you think in the comments. The Glass Demon's journey to pursue eating the moon in an intense skateboarding session, coupled with outstanding work from Blood Cultures, makes Skate Story a must-play game. It has a charm to it with its dark underworld becoming a skater's dream skate park, at times borrowing from the skate game gods of Tony Hawk with letter collecting. Blood Culture's unique genre-blending sound reminds me of how I used to discover new music through skate videos like Alien Workshop's Photosynthesis or Girls, Yeah Right. Okay, I may sound very old saying this, but for good reason. I mean, as a kid growing up skating, Skate Story would have been my dream game. It took me roughly 7+ hours to complete the main story, with plenty of side collectibles still needed to complete. It's $20, and honestly, I could have pushed it to $30 and I would have been totally fine paying that. I played it on Steam, and I can say that it also ran like a dream on my ROG Ally Z1 Extreme with some graphical adjustments. It's also Steam Deck verified, released on PlayStation 5 and on Nintendo Switch. Thank you to Devolver Digital for the review key, and to Sam Eng for one of the best skateboarding games of all time. Thank you for checking out my review of Skate Story. What do you think? Have you tried it out? Are you planning on picking it up? Let me know in the comments. If you want to see my first review from 2026, check out Big Hops on your left, and check out my reviews from 2025 on your right, and my best of indie games of 2025 on the bottom. Thanks, and as always, GG.